Hello again. I am Instructor Williams, the technology instructor for the Antioch Public Library District. I'd like to thank you for watching our YouTube video today. In today's video, we will be going over Adobe Photoshop Basics. Our objectives for the video today are to become familiar with the basic edit functions of Adobe Photoshop and to identify the editing tools. Let's get started. So the first thing we're going to want to do is open up our Adobe Photoshop program. Now we are using Adobe Photoshop Elements 2020. In this initial screen, it's going to ask you, what would you like to do today? And we have three main options here in the bottom right. We have Organize, Photo Edit, and Video Edit. We're going to choose Photo Edit. It will load Photoshop for us. And here's a basic layout of the program. The next thing we need to do is bring in the pictures that we are going to work with. I'm going to come up here to the File tab, come to Open, and choose my pictures. So first off, I'm going to show you a sample of what you can do with Photoshop. So our finished product is going to be this picture right here. We have a nice sunset in the background next to a road. We've got a nice sports car. And then we have me leaning on the sports car. So what I did was I took a combination of this picture of a sports car, along with this picture of the road, along with this picture of me in a vest. And I photoshopped them together to get this. Now clearly this is an amateur level Photoshop because I just wanted to make an example. Because the sun is sitting in the background, yet the light source on the face in the car is in front of me. And so it does look a little bit artificial. But you get the idea of what you can do in terms of cropping and editing and resizing to get things to fit a little bit more into proportion. Another thing that people can do with Photoshop, and you probably see these things online a lot, are called memes, where you take a picture and you lay text over the top of it. And so here's some examples of some memes that I have made for my church in the past, where we take a quote from what the person says and put it next to the picture of what they said. And here's another one where we've taken the background and turned it black and white and blurred it to accentuate the speaker that is in color and is in full focus. And then we inlay the text over that. And then our final example for memes is this last one here, where we've taken the background and turned that into black and white, left the main subject in color with the quote that they said. So those are just a few examples of what you can do with the basics of Photoshop. So to get started with our first set of edits, we're going to come to this picture here. It's a Chicago skyline. And this is a picture that I took when I was on one of those cruises in Lake Michigan and was able to see the Chicago skyline. But as you can notice here, I've got a little bit of light interference from the lights inside the boat that reflected on the window as I took the picture. But before we get into edits, we're going to take a bit of a tour on the tools for Adobe Photoshop. We're going to start here on the left-hand side, and this is a simple set of tools. We're also going to look at the top here. We have three modes that we can operate from. We have Quick, Guided, and Expert mode. Now in the Quick mode, I have a limited set of options on the left here. The very first one is this magnifying glass, and that's the zoom function. So I can click on that. When it's highlighted, I can come in here and you can see the magnifying glass has a little plus inside, and I can click and it zooms in, and whatever part that I zoom in, that becomes the center of the picture. And then I can also zoom out by using these commands down here at the bottom. So if we see here zoom, I've got the zoom in selected. I could also choose to zoom out and click, and it zooms out bit by bit. I also have a sliding scale for zooming, and I can do ratio zooming. So I can do a 1:1 scale, fit screen, full screen, print size. when I am in a position of zoomed in, like here for example, I can select this hand, and this hand tool allows me to drag the picture around to bring another part of the picture into focus. So if I want to put the hand over here by this tower on the right, I can click down, keep my left mouse pressed, and then just drag the picture left and right. And that way I can maneuver it. If I'm doing edits up close, I can move over bit by bit so that I don't have to worry about zooming out, zooming in, zooming out, zooming in. It's a really good time saver when I'm editing different parts of the picture at the same level of zoom. Now let's zoom back out to normal. More. There we go. And then if I have a question on what these functions are on the left, I can simply take my mouse and hover over it, and it will give me a description. So this is a quick select tool. And what that means is that it's automatically going to try to highlight the thing that I have in focus. So if I zoom into this big tower right here in the middle, I can use this quick select tool and come inside, and it's going to try to read the edges of the picture. And so whenever it sees a break in the edge, that's where it stops, and so we might have to work a little bit. Now my recommendation is if you're doing the quick select tool, to do small clicks on and off like this, because at some point you might end up clicking over, like right here, and it covers part of the sky that we don't want. But if I do these minor clicks repetitively, if I make an overreach like that, I can click Control Z and it will undo that last click. And so instead of undoing the whole thing, it'll only undo that last click that I did, and I can resume. So that's what the quick select tool is good for. The next one is red eye reduction, which will not be very relevant in this picture because there are no people in it and there are no red eyes, but we'll look at that a little bit later. We also have whiten teeth. Once again, this is for portraits of people, so that one will not be relevant for this exercise. We have straightening tools. We have adding text. We have spot healing. We have crop tool, and we have the move tool. And then in addition to these options here on the left, we have some adjustments here on the right that we can work with. So as we zoom out to get more of our picture in, now anytime you see a down pointing arrow, that means that there's an expanded menu of options. In the Smart Fix area, it allows us to change the lighting of our selected area. So we can see that we have this building selected with this marquee outline. And if you look at that building, while I move from sample to sample under Smart Fix, you can see the light adjustment happening to the image. Now we can undo that selection by hitting Control D, which stands for deselect. And then the Smart Fix will apply to the entire picture. And then under Smart Fix we have exposure. And we can go from very underexposed to middle of the road to moving towards overexposure. And we have lighting that we can work with. Work with the shadows, affecting how the shadows look, the midtones, and accentuating the highlights. After that we have color. We can choose a 0 saturation, so it's a black and white, where we start gradually bringing it up to an oversaturation. We can choose the hue, and we can alternate how the hue looks. So here we have the wintry hues, the blues, the purples. Goes from magenta to the green areas to lighter purple. And then we have the vibrance option, and how vibrant we want the picture to look. After that, we have the balance, and this is the temperature. So we have the cooler temperatures, and we can slowly move towards warmer temperatures. Very similarly, we have the tint, so we can start with a greenish tint, work our way more towards a magenta type of tint. And then we have the sharpen function, which really finely details the pixels in the picture. Because digital pictures are made up of pixels, which are little bitty dots of color, and the more pixels you have, the clearer the picture. This picture was taken with a cell phone, so you can even see here by the blurriness in the screen that it's not highly pixelated. And so if I add a lot of sharpness to this one, it looks more like an impressionist painting than it does a picture. So if you have a high pixelation picture, you can do sharper and it will make the photo pop. If you have low pixelation in your picture, you might want to go for a lower sharpness so that it blurs those pixels together to make it look more like a picture. So those are the different adjustments that we have available to us in the quick mode. The next one we have is the guided mode, and that allows us a little bit more detail in our editing process. We have the basics. We can do color, black and white, fun edits, special edits, and photo merge. So I'm going to come back to our picture under guided mode, and let's work with brightness and contrast. So here we have our picture. Over here on the right hand side we have a brightness scale. We can brighten it and lower it, and we have a contrast scale where we can add contrast or reduce contrast. We also have the option to autofix. So that's the brightness contrast. Our other options, skin tone correction. We're not dealing with skin tone in this one, so we don't want to worry too much about that. Before and after. It says trim the edges of your photo to get the perfect composition. So you could do trimming if we wanted to trim out this blur spot here. We could choose levels, adjust the brightness, contrast, and tonal range of our picture. So we could choose to do more of a blue tone in normal mode. We can slide this around, make multiple adjustments to our picture. We got lighten and darken. And we can bring up the shadows more granularly, and the highlights, and the midtones. Object removal. If there's something we wanted removed from the area, we would use one of the selection tools to choose the object we want removed. So let's say we'll do a brush, and we want to remove this blue area here. So we can fill that in, and we can click subtract and remove object. And now the blue is gone. Now, since this is a relatively new function with the 2020 version, let's see how that works with the skyscraper here. Here we go. So the blue is effectively removed. And similarly related is the spot healing brush. So we can resize the photo. We're going to do some cropping. We can select the output option. Is it going to be for a web screen? Is it going to go for print? can choose our width and height. Rotate and straighten. If we have a slightly crooked picture, we could rotate it a little bit, use the straighten tool. Sharpen. This is back to the sharpness effect. And then the vignette effect. We won't get much of an effect of this on here, but the vignette kind of gives you a dark or light edge, and it kind of fades into the picture. So for example, if we do a black vignette, you can see here the edges are kind of blacked out and it fades into the picture. You can do a white vignette. And this is really good for making pictures into postcards to kind of give it that soft, dreamy feel. So that is our guided function for the basics. We also have the color option, enhance the color, the low camera effect, and each one of these gives you a little description. Easily give your photo that high contrast, heavily saturated low-mo camera look. You have remove a color cast. You can remove unwanted color tinting to reveal your photo's true colors. And you have the saturated film effect. Add a classic saturated slide film to your photo. Then we have black and white functions. We can do classic black and white. We can highlight a single color in our photo. We can do a black and white selection. We can do high key. Add a soft, bright effect to your photo. Easily convert your photo to a pencil sketch. So that looks fun. So we could try that with a line drawing. We just click pencil sketch effect. And there we go. We have the Chicago city skyline as a pencil sketch. We can undo that by hitting Control Z. And then we have low key, have a dark moody effect to your photo. So it looks like that function will be much better with a brighter photo. We have fun edits. You can do double exposure, you can do effects collages. Meme maker, look at that. This is a new one that I haven't seen. So here we can create a meme. Create a meme template. Then you have your picture in the middle. Typing tools, you can add your types, flip it, choose a new border. So you have a lot of options to make memes, if that's something you want to do. You have the multi-photo text, old-fashioned photo, kind of adds the sepia look to it. Out of bounds, or makes the picture pop out of the edge with a 3D effect. Do painterly, give it an artistic painting effect. Partial sketch, pattern brush, photo text, picture stack, pop art, the puzzle effect, reflection, shape overlay, speed effect, speed pan, and a zoom burst effect. Then we have special edits. You can do depth of field, create a frame, do the Orton effect, a soft dreamy look to your photo, perfect portrait, recompose, easily resize your photo without losing the most important parts. Replace the background, restore an old photo, scratches and blemishes, text and border overlay, tilt shift, add a miniature effect without the need for a tilt shift lens, and a watercolor effect. And then finally, photo merge. Extract an object from one photo and add it to another. Exposure, blend shots with different exposures to get the perfect lighting every time. Photo merge faces. Have fun by blending faces from two different photos into one. Make sure everyone in your group is shot smiling. It has their eyes open by blending multiple shots into one. Easily remove objects like cars from a series of photos. And create a panoramic photo by stitching together multiple photos. So that's all under the guided function for tweaking our photos. And then we have expert mode. And expert mode gives us all of the options on the left hand side to really tweak the details the way we want. Here we have the eye tool, we have spot healing, smart brush, clone stamping, the blur tool, sponge tool, and we have drawing, we have the paintbrush, we've got the paint bucket, we got the eraser tool, gradient tool, custom shape, color picker, typing, pencil, cropping, recomposing the tool, content aware move tool, and the straightening tool. So as we see, there are a lot of things we can do with these functions. Back in the quick mode, we can see here view selection. So we can view after the corrections, we can view before the corrections, we can view before and after in horizontal fashion, and we can view before and after in vertical fashion. So here is a summary of today's video. We opened up Photoshop, we opened up pictures within Photoshop, we toured the tools, and we did a few exercises with editing pictures. Once again, this is Instructor Williams for the Antioch Public Library District. Thank you for watching our YouTube video. For more computer-related videos and other Antioch Library content, please click the subscribe button.